We're live here with coverage of the last pool play game, Viksjofors from Sweden versus Cambo Cakes from the Netherlands. I'm Liam Rosen with Brian Jones on Skyd Magazine. Took a look at Viksjofors before the game and talked to their captain, Martin Filipowski, about how he felt going into this game, which will likely determine which team advances to power pools.
Yeah, he said he didn't know too much about Cambo Cakes, but it's going to be about them. They had a close loss with Furious George yesterday, 15-13. They had a chance to go up 14-13 with a break, but unable to convert the opportunity. They're a team that has a lot of experience, been around for a long time, founding first in 2004. And recently at 2010 in Prague, they actually made it to quarterfinals with a win over Double Wide. They have the Dahlbergs, who are huge. They expect to huck it to them the entire time, and it's no secret to their offensive success. Defensively, we'll see them mix it up a lot.
We watched this team, well, not exactly this team, but many players from this team in Japan in 2012 make it to the semifinals. They beat the host country in a windy game, which involved lots of big hucks from the Dahlbergs. And talking to Martin before the game, he said, Sweden always plays a huck-happy offense. Cambo Cakes, on the other hand, talked to their captain, Tjeerd Otis, and he told us that Viksjofors were a very strong opponent, looking forward to go up against them. Both teams are actually determining, as we mentioned before, who will move on. The winner of this game will come in as the second spot in the pool behind Furious George.
And the Cambo Cakes, they're a team that's a little bit in it more for the fun. They came in seeded fourth. They won against the Slovakian team yesterday, and they are 1-1 after a loss to Furious George. They have some dog influence, though, from the great team from Boston. They're going to run a lot of vertical stack, and they're going to utilize their zone as well, which they like to mix up and try to confuse the handlers if it's actually man or not. It's going to be a lot of junky looks. They're a little bit more happy to be here, but I think they're in the right frame of mind for this game. They're going to be more conservative and use that vertical stack.
So pull going up from Viksjofors to Cambo Cakes here in Lecco, Italy.
You can see the vertical stack. It lines up very far on the side, actually giving a giant lane with room to run.
Layout under pressure. Disc is dropped from Cambo Cakes, so Viksjofors goes the other way. Far side of the field, tries to jam it up the line, and it's slightly overthrown, so turnover each from both teams.
Both teams starting out with a little bit of nerves here in the morning. We'll see if Cambo Cakes can be a little bit more patient. That throw was very contested off the bat. And a lot of these teams, if they're not able to dump swing it, they're not able to hang on for very long.
Hammer choice that was actually hand blocked. So Viksjofors picks up and throws a hammer of their own. Easy score for Viksjofors.
Able to take it away, convert it to fast break. There's actually a callback. It looks like it may be a travel call in this situation, calling a shuffling of the feet. So Viksjofors will have to do it again.
Johan Leandersen had caught that goal. Leandersen, a long-time player for Viksjofors. He's from Edsbyn, which is the small town in northern Sweden where this team comes from. This team really has an incredible history, coming from such a small town, about 3,000 people living in it, and growing up to become one of the strongest teams in European Ultimate. So just check back in again, and they'll do it the easier way, right up that far sideline. So first blood for Viksjofors.
They were trying to go down to Rostock in their first international tournament back in 2004. And while they were driving down, because they had done well in indoor, they were wondering how well they could do, and they felt like they really had a chance for success. They came into the first game and they lost 17-4. A little bit of a rude awakening, but it was something that helped them strive to be better and get up into this top international flight. When you make it to quarters in Prague in 2010 over a team like Double Wide, it's proof that you have talent and you have skill. And we'll see that on Showcase today for sure.
And this is a team with a lot of experience. It was actually founded long before 2004 as an indoor team. 1994, these players had only played indoors until they finally decided one day, why don't we try to take our talents to the European outdoor scene. Pull goes up from Viksjofors. Arne Spoelstra will put it into play. Center to Van Feuken. Sean O'Mani. Foul called by O'Mani. O'Mani, an Irish player for the Cambo Cakes, actually got his start playing Gaelic football in Ireland, later played with Rebel Ultimate out of Cork, and moved to Amsterdam after playing Winbow Windup in 2013 with his girlfriend, where he's lived ever since and has played with the Cambo Cakes since then.
This vertical stack that they're running is going to have to rely on patience and dump swing and being able to provide that spacing. You can see there's a lot of room from the front of the stack to the handler, so that gives a lot of options to make cuts. The front of the stack can go to either side, the break side or foreside.
Linson with a miscommunication. Players have stopped, though. It looks like there was a pick in the stack before that throw went off.
Saying it's going back to the thrower regardless.
So disc will go back to Linson. And lucky for him, as he had slipped up a bit on the throw. This ground still a bit wet from the morning dew, which is just starting to come off as the sun rises in Lecco. Linson activates the dump, looking up line. It's not there. O'Mani comes as the fill. Into the center, back to O'Mani. O'Mani, strong hammer, deep! Great D from Viksjofors. And they immediately pick up and go the other way. Forsberg to Högberg. Högberg again. Crossfield. Huck. The Swedes love those. It's just going to go a bit too far, though.
Crazy decision-making so far in this game. The hammer from Cambo Cakes made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Backhand out to the corner of the end zone may have been the actual right choice. And then the cross-field throw, that one is destined for out of bounds as soon as it was thrown.
We saw the replay in the D before. Alexander Mars getting the D on that one on the hammer, but then throws it away.
Well, I'd hope you get that D on that hammer because it was just an odd decision to start things off. Cambo Cakes is doing well by moving the disc, and they don't need to huck it that quickly. This is their game plan. They need to stick with it.
Speaking of hucks, forehand flip. Player has position, goes up. And a D. It's a clean D. I thought it might have been a strip, but
looks like the receiver just had it in his hands too, but couldn't make the catch. It's some physicality. But again, the Cambo Cakes, this is an offense built around the principles of dog. And the vertical stack is supposed to allow you to march up the field, and they were able to do that pass by pass with limited pressure. It wasn't an issue for them, and instead they're throwing to contested deep shots, which makes no sense because Viksjofors, that's their game. That's exactly what they want to play. They have the athletes to go up and get those discs.
So Högberg into the center. Finding Leanderson. Forsberg, high release over the top. Leanderson into Greenberg. Mars, the dump is crowding. Had two dump options within 2 meters. Hammer, though, over the defender, and Viksjofors strikes again for 2-0.
Another hammer for another score. And it looks like in this game it's just going to be whoever is more open, can you make the weird throw? Because decision-making hasn't been great to start out this game from both offenses. Viksjofors actually, and really just getting those two breaks. So we haven't seen their offensive line, so I guess it's unfair to say the decision-making there. Maybe their defensive line is a little bit more free-running. But Cambo Cakes, you have to figure this out. You have a vertical stack, run your game, go through it. Be confident in that. That is your play style. And I think you're seeing for the first time they're trying to win a game where they're facing a lot of pressure and they don't know how to handle it yet. They're a relatively young team, inexperienced. They did go to 4 tournaments to prepare, one of those being Windmill Windup.
This actually, looking at the replay again, could have been a foul call, but receiver didn't call it, so...
Well, that's one of the things why I think you're seeing some inexperience at the Cambo Cakes. That's going to be a veteran foul call, meaning they're going to understand that there's body contact, they could have made that catch, and I think that they're going to maybe call that foul. Here it's a bit of a play-on situation.
Alta's near sideline into the center.
We're seeing a bit of Hostak as it transitions to vert.
Dumas sends it deep, but it's a Blady Huck. Bad decision, bad execution.
You just advanced past half field with in cuts, no problem. You were wide open. There's no reason to turn around and jack it. It's just they need to settle down.
Cambo Cakes, very loose marks. Looks like they're poaching way off of the handlers. This is a very loose zone. Viksjofors trying to beat it with overhead throws.
They have a 2-3-2 running right now with a forced middle. And as you can see, it allows one throw to always get off, but there's very little room for continuations.
This field is absolutely still right now. There's 0 wind. So Sweden, with the precision on these hammers, can just continue to beat it with overhead throws.
Viksjofors, though, has just had 4 people hanging out deep at one point in time. And this is what you get in international play. You see just different strategies, unconventional throws, unconventional plays.
Vix very close now, though. Hugbag wants the end zone hammer. Pinpoint right to the back cone.
And why not? This is the 3rd hammer for the score we've seen in this game. I don't know if we're going to see a normal score whatsoever.
Nothing but not fun to watch is this game so far.
A 3-0 here, Cambo Cakes. They have it. They have the undercuts open. They have the dump swing available. They're showing the inexperience and impatience of a younger team that needs to come out and, really missing their coach right now, Ted Munter, dog who normally lives in Amsterdam during the winter but goes back to Boston during the summers. He could be helping very much so far. Just bad decisions going deep.
Making adjustments, I think. It's something we've noticed in the European ultimate scene versus the United States is being able to adjust on defense and try different things. In the U.S., it's very common after the point, hey, that's not working out, let's try it. European teams, I think, are more likely to just say, we have our game plan, let's keep running it regardless of whether it's working or not.
Yeah, European teams seem to form an identity and want to stick with it and completely know what they're going to do. But offense isn't often like that. There is a system that you have to provide, but it needs to provide all options against all defenses, whether it's going to be, if you're going to provide under or deep cuts.
Omani tries to flip it in fast for the dump pass, but it is blocked. And Christopher Iversen picks up. Into the center, blading shot to the end zone. And it's dropped. Misread pass. Daniel Poindexter will pick up. That's the first time we've seen him in the game. Double wide star. Picking up with Vix in this tournament. His wife is playing with Showdown. Marjo Poindexter. He actually lived in Amsterdam in the winter of 2013 for work. Got some time in with the team. And asked if he could play with them again during Worlds.
See if he can be calming influence. Instead, they're going to go deep.
Poindexter, wrong angle on that throw. Saw Sean Manny going deep. So Viksjofors takes their time on this one. Cambo Cakes, as you mentioned, a newer team. They were founded in 2005 by a bunch of young players in Amsterdam that wanted to play at the elite level but didn't want to play with more established teams like the very classic team, the red lights, as this swing pass is just egregiously turned over by Vix. So Poindexter will pick up just 2 meters outside the end zone, so Cakes right into their end zone set. Vix very close now, and another turnover. Frustrating decisions from both teams early in the morning.
And that's an execution error. The receiver was open in the end zone, no problem. Just needs to be thrown.
Sjögren to Benson. Vix working up the near sideline. They're going to put it deep. Backhand huck to Gabriel. Easily runs that one down.
For a score that wasn't on a hammer. Cambo Cakes is in big trouble at the moment. They're unable to just hit the open receiver, and they're going to take a timeout. They're going to need to settle down in order to get back in this game. And here's the thing. If you're the Cambo Cakes, you have the talent to be better than what you are right now. It is not a function of we're not good enough. This is a function of knowing the right adjustments, making the right calls and strategy, and mentally settling down.
Elliot and I coming down here had sort of developed a plan, and we want Milwaukee to win nationals.
So Cambo Cakes needing to make some big adjustments after a stunning 4-0 early downfall in this game.
The adjustments, though, are mental. It's not a lot of strategy. It's a matter of we don't need to hit the deep shot. Let's work it up the field because it's there. And they just need to settle down and take a second to hit the open person.
The Ates brothers working with each other. They're going to send it deep on a forehand. But a D from Benson. Gabriel Benson scored that last point. He's been preparing hard for Worlds. One of the Stockholm-based players on this squad. Most of the players actually now live in Stockholm, although the team was founded in Edsbyn. And Stockholm-based players have been training together, had a couple training camps, physical fitness trainings. Cambo Cakes, this is the second time they've set their zone off of a turn.
And it's a 2-2-2-1. They're just a lot of levels, a lot of switching, trying to be able to just poach the lane. It's not been a bad strategy, but they need to focus more on their offense. I just don't think the deep shots are going to be working for them. Even if they get 1 point out of it, great. Do something that's going to make your team better.
Huck, halfway down the field from Vix. Mattsson, one of the coaches of Vix, to Högberg. Högberg crossfield to Mattsson. Lundberg and Matson working with each other. Vik's very close now. Throw into the end zone. I don't know what word to use, Brian, other than interesting for that one. A righty flip blade. And that's just chemistry. These players have played with each other for a long time. Talking to Captain Martin Filipowski before the game, we said, how often do you guys train together? He said, well, we don't really train together. Some of the Stockholm-based players train together. A couple of the players live in Göteborg, and they play with the team Seagulls, which is a new juniors team founded there. But these players have played together on various teams, and Sweden is a very young, it's a very old Ultimate country, but very small Ultimate community. So these players are very familiar with how they play with and against each other.
In these cases, a lot of times Sweden only has 200 Ultimate players to choose from as we look at the WUCC. Actually, Deed.
It didn't look like that from our angle, but Benson did a great job of getting down and getting a hand on it. Actually, Viks almost pulled that disc with 6 players in the line. We saw a juniors game 2 weeks ago where a team actually played an entire point. It was the Australian U19 team, 6-on-7.
And they had a chance with the disc. They played a defensive point with 6 people. They could have gone through and actually scored. They gave it back, though, eventually.
I don't blame teams. 7 is a very hard number to count to. It's sort of an uneven number. 6 oftentimes looks like 7.
It's where a lot of times a coach should come into just helpful in terms of adjustments, making sure there's basic 7 people on the line.
Confusion, by the way, on the field about where the brick mark is because the field's gotten so muddy. You see the sawdust that they put down has obscured the brick. Cambo Cakes wanting to play fast, but so far that's not worked for them as we've seen drops and miscommunications. O'Mani turfs the disc.
Too many handlers back. You don't get a dump swing. You're forced to go up the sideline. Viksjofors can just focus in on defense and know exactly what you're going to do with it. They're hungry right now. There's no issue for them.
Ivarsson up top. Alexander Mars with a great shot. He'll put this one deep for Leanderson for the easy score. Viksjofors rolling early, 6-0.
Total domination. Defense knows exactly what Cambo Cakes wants. They can go the other way with it very quickly and huck over. Just nothing doing right now for Cambo Cakes.
And you wonder if it is nerves. I mean, this is not the first game of the tournament for Cambo Cakes. It is the first game, though, that they've been on the live stream. And hopefully nerves not affecting them too much.
At a certain point, you just need to get one, and they wanted one of those hucks to fall. And it's going to be important that they just settle down because at this point, this game is pretty much out of reach. You're down 6-0. You're not playing well. Focus on getting 1 point in and doing the right things, which would be if your offense is based on dog principles, dump swing the disc, hit those in cuts. If it's wide open deep, hit the deep shot, but don't be turning and throwing something that's contested.
Pull will be fielded by Poindexter, centering to Attis.
Zone from Viksjofors, a 1-3-2-1.
Attis, crossfield swing to Reinders.
This is a zone that they employed throughout 2012 in Sakai. The Swedes did. Easy
hammer, though, for the swing over to Poindexter, finding O'Mani.
And this is something that doesn't make any sense for as a defense to do. Your man defense has gotten a turnover at every single point. Changing the zone for the sake of changing the zone. Why?
At the same time, though, maybe just trying to get extra practice in the zone and they're up 6-0. Although teams can come back and close that gap pretty easily earlier in the game. 6-0 doesn't seem like that much of a difference in a game to 15. And sure enough, Cambo Cakes with their first point of the game, beating the zone.
The team has trouble against the pressure man defense. You want to get out of here as soon as possible. You know your zone already. That's an identity that's been built for a long time. You come into this tournament, you're not treating this as a practice anymore if you're Viksjofors. You're trying to get in the quarters. manage your legs. Get out of this game. Cruise to victory. Don't make Cambo Cakes don't give them any confidence. Just crush this game is what their mentality should be, I think, coming forward. I don't like to switch to zone. I can understand wanting to maybe work on it. I don't think it's a great adjustment here, and that's not the one I would follow. But as you can see, Cambo Cakes is able to just rifle through it, and no problem with minimal wind on the field.
We asked Viksjofors what their expectations were going into the tournament. So we mentioned 4 years ago they made it into the quarterfinals, eventually losing to Buzz Bullets, but we're very happy with their result in that tournament. This year, with the new format, Captain Filipovsky says it may be harder to make it to quarters. It is still their eventual goal, but they would be very happy with a top 12 finish.
There was, talking about the adjustments, there's a lot. I read a lot of coaching biographies and things and quotes, and Bill Parcells, one of the people I really enjoyed reading about, is coaching the NFL for the American Pro Football, and talks about if you're sitting there as a coach and trying to make adjustments and just change things up from what's working, and then just because you want to look good, it becomes a circus act. You're not trying to win anymore. You stick with what works. You don't try to change just to change.
Speaking of what's working for Viksjofors, it's the hammers and efficient offense, as Martin Carlson was the spark of that offensive line. So Vix finally getting the chance to prove it on offense and getting it done very quickly, 7-1.
That's what we expected, them able to kind of go through very quickly, operate, look for those huck chances. Viksjofors is a team that likes to go forward. They don't want to go backwards. They want to just push the pace. And they're going to have an advantage against American teams, especially early on, because American teams aren't going to scout them. And so they're not going to know to expect all the hucks and how effective they're going to be and how efficient they are at it. And this is one of the things that makes European teams hard. We talked about the identity earlier. Let's stick with what we do. Let's stick with our game plan. And American teams are kind of going in trying to feel things out, and Viksjofors are going, nope, we're going to go send it deep every single time, and we're going to throw hammers for 4 scores in the first half. I
talked to some Ragnarok players yesterday. They faced off against Sockeye. They said one thing that Sockeye did very well was make adjustments. The game started out very quick, but Sockeye is such a cerebral, mental team, as we know, as this huck is going to be thrown to no one from Cambo Cakes, that they were just able to adjust on defense, start running a zone that Ragnarok couldn't figure it out. So Sockeye won that game 15-7.
That's what we see in the American game, often a tale of two halves. And the better teams can do it within timeouts. It's very tough to do without a coach. The adjustments are so key. There's not one right strategy for a game. You have to figure out what the other team's strengths are. Can you stop them with man defense? If you can't, you have to switch to some type of zone transition or poachy defense. Is your offense able to go and huck it deep? If the other team is playing, the defenders are backing you, then you take the free unders available and you dump swing the disc.
Johansson finding Mars.
And that's something that's specific to dog principles. And Ted Munter, the coach here for Cambo Cakes, Jim Paranella, as a turnover occurs, going back to Cambo Cakes, Jim Paranella talks about how dog would just take whatever the defense gave them. If the defense was sitting underneath the receivers and giving them the deep, they would huck it on the first throw. And if not, then they would go through and look for the option, dump swing the disc.
Very close from Cambo Cakes. They'll have numbers thinking about the huck, but finally holsters it. The Atas brothers working with the handlers. This time they'll send it deep. That shot is right out to space. And that's the kind of huck option you want to look for, off of the power position with momentum.
And they were able to dump swing it around. They had the patience. They looked for that opportunity, which they had steps. They could throw it. It wasn't the same third huck because the receiver was traveling horizontally across the field. That's a great opportunity. That's the best look they've had all game long.
So Cambo Cakes fired up after that one. Speaking of the name Cambo Cakes, many of the players in the team actually don't like the name.
Yeah, a lot of them were trying to get it changed. Over half the team doesn't like it, but they keep trying to come up with names and they can't find anything else that makes sense. I don't know if I find that if I find that hard to believe or what. I think they can come up with a better name, perhaps.
I believe one of the alternatives discussed was the Amsterdam Terror Corps, which they deemed too unacceptable for Ultimate. The Cambo cakes, though, if you're wondering about the origin of the word, was actually the food that the founders of the team were eating at the time that they founded the team. And just like that, some of these names can stick. So Viksjofors with another chance on offense. Let's see if they can work just as efficiently as they did last time. Dahlberg into Hugren.
Viksjofors does a really good job, and they weren't able to hit on this, but they were patient.
And that's the same play we saw the last offense. It's just that hammer to the open side. Viksjofors playing with so much confidence.
What they do really well in this possession, but they don't send it deep, is that they have cuts starting near the disc, very shallow, and then they curl like as if they're going to get an undercut and then go deep. It gives them position on the defenders. It gives them an opportunity. It was just mistimed. It's going to go to half now in this situation, and that's the fifth hammer that we've seen in this game for a score. Viksjofors is rolling. They've had no problem in this one.
Stick around for an halftime interview with Cambo Cakes.
Skyed Magazine がお送りしました。
Skyed Magazine.
Skyed Magazine!
Skyed Magazine.
Skydy!
Meine Aufgabe ist dastehen und gut aussehen.
Es gibt Magazin Guacamayas!
Sky Magazine.
I'm here with Cheered, the captain of Cambo Cakes. How was the first half of that game for you guys?
A little bit disappointing. We feel that they did apply some pressure to us, but a lot of it was basically our mistakes, throwing it to a couple of guys who weren't really open or just throwing the wrong throw. Really feeling that second half is gonna turn that around. We're gonna hit our guys and not throw it at them anymore.
So what adjustments are you going to make to catch up and make up this ground that you've lost?
Well, on offense, we're going to basically stick with the same thing, so mostly vertical play, but switching it up a little bit with some horizontal and split stack, that sort of thing. We're hoping that we're going to play some more zone. That was really nice to play that. Defense, we're hoping to get some more defensive starts to really do more of our zones that we have, so really confuse them a little bit with that.
And looking forward to other games, how many more games have you got in the pool, and what are you looking forward to playing, in particular maybe in the power pools?
Well, this is our last game in the pool. Right now this is the placement game for the second in the pool. So if we win this, we go to power pools. Otherwise, we go to the lower pools. We'd love to go to power pools. We're going to get a little bit of, we're not going to beat any of the American, Canadian teams probably, but we'd love to learn a lot there. But either way is fine. If we're going to go to the lower pools, we're going to have a lot of fun, win some more games, that sort of thing. So either way, we're going to be happy as long as we finish this game proud with our heads up, doing our thing.
Nice. Well, good luck for the rest of the game.
Thanks.
And good luck for any more games in the tournament.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, and stay tuned for the second half.
coming out after halftime. Cambo Cakes will see if they can make some adjustments to stop Vic's offensive line, which has looked very good so far. Bomark working with it. We saw him 2 weeks ago with the Swedish juniors team, and Vic so far absolutely destroying this Cake zone.
Vic's just slicing and dicing through it. They've had no problem. You can see the great zone offense because immediately as they catch it from a popping perspective, they're able to either look to the side or to the middle of the field once again and continue that flow. That's what you want in a zone offense.
Dahlberg with it, center of the field, looking into the end zone. Gets it out to Bomark. Nice adjustment on the other side from the Cakes, but they flip it into the middle for another easy Viksjofors score. Their offensive line is very potent. I can completely see how they were able to take Furious George, and they said they had it tied at 13s, had the disc to go up 14-13, but weren't able to go. Furious George eventually won that game 15-13 to take first in the pool.
A dangerous team against any of those lower level American teams, or in this case the highest level Canadian team. A chance for them to actually make quarters. It's going to be impressive to see how far they can run with this offense because it's a style that uses a lot of explosive movement. They want to put the disc deep. They've shown a capability to dump swing it a little bit, which means they're able to pick their shots. Eventually, it can catch up to them, though, if they're not able to grind out points and take the unders.
One other thing I appreciate about Viksjofors is that all of their players, no matter if they're athletic deep receivers or handlers, everyone is very efficient at catching and throwing the disc. They all have all the tools in the toolbox, as we see in near layout D from Viks, from Forsberg. But Cakes, Ates still controlling. Ates gets the backhand off to his brother. And great dump cut to open up space on the near side of the field.
It's one of the advantages of the vertical stack with one dump back is we have looks like an injury, a collision downfield.
Both Vic's players collided possibly into each other. One of them's down on the ground holding his head. Not exactly sure what happened on that one. Action was downfield as we were following the handlers. It looks like he's just shaken up a bit. That was Per Larsen. Is going to come off. Larsen will be replaced by Mars. Larsen just holding his face. Ooh. Let me see. Looks like a foul on the mark. The receiver is clutching his knee. I believe he called it an offensive foul. So no contest is coming in on 0 in violation. So disc comes back in. Ates finds Steenhuisen. Steenhuisen dumps back to Ates. To Tjerd. Ates again, near sideline hammer. Poor execution.
This is not the play they need to look for. It's a question of, can you dump swing the disc? And they did it until they got a quarter of the way the field to go. They're not Viksjofors. They're a team that needs to be patient.
So the flippy backhand leads to the up line and deep shot from Viksjofors. This one's gonna float. And Vix gets the D with a bit of body positioning and some help defense.
Not a good shot. The receiver was already too deep. You could tell the thrower was looking for the throw over a period of 3 seconds. When you're looking that long for a deep cut to develop, normally the cutter's going to end up too deep. You're going to float the disc at all. It's very hard to place it out to a receiver that's far downfield.
Ottes is going to send it deep. Steenhuisen with position, but Forsberg is catching up. And Forsberg making the play, laying out some nice deep defense. Tom Forsberg, Gothenburg-based player, plays for Seagulls, picking up with Vix for this tournament.
This is Viksjofors' game. This is what they do. They're athletic, they're tall, they're deep. And if you can put it up against them, you're going to get punished.
Ivarsen. To Johansson. Johansson finding Benson. Benson thinks about the backhand rip, but not there. Dumps it back off to Forsberg. Secures despite the defense. Bomark to Lindeen. Lindeen hammer. And with a receiver that tall, it's hard not to make that play as we see yet another hammer score from Viksjofors.
6 this game.
I think Cambo Cakes is going to start having to force no hammer.
Which really would be a backhand force. You can still throw hammers over the top of that, but it doesn't matter. In this case, when you're facing a backhand force and the hammer is going to go the opposite way, you're trying to throw hammers to the break side because that's where the receivers are open, with no defenders really having any position. A hammer is a nice outside-in throw when it's to the break backhand side. But when you're throwing it to the break flick side, it's going to double helix and come down in a different manner.
Saw the D from Forsberg earlier, then the hammer score from Viksjofors as they're up 10-2, looking to win this game in dominant fashion to secure the second spot in the pool and advance to power pools.
For any kids at home, if you're facing a team that's beating you with hammers, the first look you can do is force backhand. It's very hard against a team that just has that throw and practices it to do anything else when you're forcing flick. If you're forcing flick and it's to the break side, it's an easy throw for them to make.
Sean O'Mahony sends it deep. This is the first we've seen from him in a while. Receiver not able to make a read on it, and the deep throws have not worked out well for the Cakes. Looks like a foul was called.
Defender did have contact on the backside.
But that's a tough call to make. Is the question there is, would he have made the catch without the contact? I still think that disc was floating a bit high over his head. That's going to be an uncontested foul, so the disc will stand. Van Feuken. Looking for the dump. Can't find anyone. Has to power dump it all the way back to Poindexter, about half field. Back to Van Feuken. Van Feuken, tough mark. Not calling any contact, though. Finally gets it off to Spoelstra. Back to Poindexter. Poindexter hammer to Van Feuken. So Cambo Cakes finally puts this one in. It took a perhaps slightly questionable foul call and a no contest for them to get there, though.
Even after that, they were pushing the disc back 20 yards and having to go into an end zone set far off the actual goal line. Poindexter supplying the hammer. It doesn't matter at this point for Cambo Cakes. This is not a game where they're going to be able to take away much because they're just not at the level of Viksjofors, who right now is playing awesome. They're going to move forward. They've had a great game against Furious George with an opportunity to make quarters.
See the hammer again from Poindexter, the pickup from Texas double wide, Austin double wide, joining many of his double wide teammates who, being the only team, the highest ranking team in the USAU Club Championships not to qualify for Worlds, have picked up on a number of different teams. There are players with Slash, Mexican mixed team with Ragnarok. So we'll see Viksjofors' offensive line work together again. And this offensive line is very, very fun to watch. They all know each other extremely well. A drop, though, very uncharacteristic from Viks. So Cambo Cakes with a chance to go the other way. Two cutters streaking deep. Deep shot, though, is well defended. Otis. Layout D. And I'm not sure if that was actually touched or just dropped. Dahlberg, though, now with it. Carlson. Dumps off to Josefsson. Carlson over the top, finding Dahlberg. To Filipovsky. Filipovsky rushes the throw. And Cambo Cakes have someone deep right away. There's absolutely no defender down there. And a timeout call. Possibly not wanting to rush the throw, but maybe just trying to slow his team's nerves down. Viksjofors, though, seemingly unconcerned that there was just a wide-open deep cut from Gosa Overall. So both teams will talk about it, try to calm down their offense here on Sky Magazine's coverage of the World Ultimate Club Championships in Lecco, Italy. Follow all of our coverage and live stream games on skymagazine.com. Otis will check the disc back in. Poach defense from Viksjofors. They're leaving those back cutters in the stack open. Cambo Cakes working with it quickly.
Transition zone, you can hear the counting going on.
Otis cross field. Blade. Nice D from Martin Filipovsky. Looks like a strip will be called.
Receiver definitely didn't have it in his grasp. I'm not sure if this is also going to be a foul call in the sense that there was some contact. I think that's a clean D.
Be hard to see without seeing some sort of replay, but it did look clean from our perspective. The game advisor here will step in, as we've mentioned before. Let's see the replay on this.
There was contact. It's hard to say. I don't think the contact affected the play in any way.
As we've talked about before, the game advisor will step in. Game Advisors, a new initiative from World Flying Disc Federation. They're not observers. It's going to be a contested foul, so disc will go back. Advisors are just here to resolve any disputes by providing information about the rules so that players can make their own decisions. So after some controversial games in the last few years, especially games that were being streamed live to a wider audience, World Flying Disc Federation will be providing a pilot program of Game Advisors at this tournament. All of our games streamed here on Sky Magazine will feature them.
Game Advisors are Greg Connolly and Byron Hicks from the USA.
And they've brought in a lot of observers from the USA program with experience in games like these. Otis, a drop disc from Cakes. Filipowski picks it up. Filipowski, former Skogsidan player, European champions for many, many years. And Dahlberg wants to put this one deep right into space. Brilliant throw from Dahlberg.
Viksjofors can't be stopped at this point in time. And Cambo Cakes isn't making it tough on them whatsoever. It's a matter of drops, missed throws, not executing on their plays. And it's been this way from the start of the game.
Eric Dahlberg has a long history with this team, Viksjofors. He's been with the team for 20 years, starting out playing indoor, made the transition with them to the outdoor season. So think back, 1994 is how long Eric Dahlberg has been playing Ultimate. We saw them in Japan, as we mentioned before, making the semifinals, losing to Great Britain by 1 point.
Liam, it was 7. The New York Rangers were winning the Stanley Cup. That's about the extent of what I remember. He's been around longer than Derek Jeter has.
That's a long career for Ultimate standards. Many U.S. players would have retired by now, but the Dahlberg family, renowned in the Swedish Ultimate community. There's 3 brothers, Eric, Anders, and Kalle. Kalle, unfortunately, wasn't able to make the trip, had to drop out late in the game.
Many U.S. players would have retired or gone to Masters at this point in time.
Sweden, though, I don't think there's enough players still around to field a Masters team, and the Dahlberg's still very successful on the open level. I think in Europe, with it being a younger sport, experience really pays dividends, and if you can be still athletic at an older age, you can be very effective. Cambo Cakes working through the Viksjofors zone. Poindexter really helping to quarterback this offense, working with O'Mani. Van Feuken. Van Feuken hammer to Linssen. Linssen thinks about sending it deep. It's not there. Dumps back to Spoelstra. To Van Feuken. Van Feuken hammer fake. Mars isn't biting on it though. Poindexter. And flips it into O'Mani, who lays out to secure that catch. Getting the Cakes a bit pumped up. So another point on the board for them, 11-4.
That's the best the Cambo Cakes have looked all game long. Utilizing the dump swing, being patient in a great offensive rhythm was just set throughout that entire point. And it started with Viksjofors throwing zone, allowing Cambo Cakes to get a little bit of rhythm, getting that confidence. It doesn't matter what type of catch and throw it is. If you can go through a point and get a couple of catches and throws and you feel like you've accomplished something already, you feel the disc in your hands, you're confident about the next throw. Getting the few hammers off, I think we saw 3 or 4 of them in a couple of scoobers. It's great possession for Cambo Cakes. It's too bad that this is the first time we've seen it all game long.
I think too little, too late for the Cakes. As we see the flip to O'Mani. O'Mani, known for his athleticism. He started playing Gaelic football in Ireland, is a recent convert to Ultimate. Hasn't been playing for very long. I think maybe just 2 or 3 years. But the athleticism, for those not familiar with Gaelic football, it's a sport with a lot of cuts and movement that is very similar to Ultimate. So you see in the Irish Ultimate scene, lots of players converting from Ga, as they call it. Pull goes out of bounds for the Cakes.
Viksjofors will come out in a horizontal stack. It's not surprising. In the big transition from horizontal to horizontal stack in the early 2000s, Furious George brought it, and then we saw also Wisconsin Hodags popularize it throughout college. In the vertical stack, the deep cuts came from the break side. It's just you could throw it from the fore side if you wanted to, but it was the best option from the break side. In the horizontal stack, they can seemingly come from anywhere, and that's the difference. And that's why a lot of teams like to use it to spread the horizontal stack. Just allows a lot of deep lanes. And at first, when you've seen it for the first time, you need to back your man, because I remember in college the first time we saw a horizontal stack back in 2006, and it was just a matter of the other team throwing it over our heads over and over and over again for scores.
Vix looking very good against the Cambo Cake zone. Meanwhile, Beaumark really doing a great job as the center handler. Beaumark flips it in, doing work on that point. Martin Beaumark, we saw him playing for the Swedish under-19 team. He was very consistent as a handler with those inside-out break throws. He's one of the 4 players that still lives in Edsbyn, where this team was founded, the small town of about 3,800 people. He is still a high school student, maybe just going into the first year of university. So this team with small town roots, the story in Sweden is there's so little teams that once a team gets good enough to compete on the European level, all the other players want to go play with that team. So they'll pick up players from Göteborg, they'll pick up players from Stockholm, just players that want to go out there and compete.
Once you get big enough to do that, that's a great sign of your program flourishing and being one of the top dogs in the area. People are clamoring to play for you and have the opportunity to just join up. It helps keep the team going as well, and this is it's been 20 years since this team was started.
And very unique that a team will see such success from such a small player base, but the advantage for Vix coming up in the European scene was that because the town was so small, pretty much everyone in the town knew about Ultimate. Edsbyn is also known for their athleticism. They're very successful in a sport called bandy, which is referred to as floor hockey, I believe, in the United States, another popular sport in Sweden. So they're able to recruit a lot of athletes and play together a lot. As, on the other hand, Cambo Cakes working again against the Viksjofors zone.
This Viksjofors zone, it's a combination of a loose 4-man cup, bringing in the person. It's in a diamond formation, and so it can sometimes look like a 3-3-1 with the option for the middle to come in and make it a 4-person cup.
It looks like Vix is converting to man no, as O'Mani sends it deep, though, right into a poach. Just didn't see that player coming in, and it was a very low throw as well. Högberg up the line. Modig now with it. Benson. Dumps to Matson. Inside break, too far for Viksjofors. And Vix, I think, is playing into Cambo Cake's game a little bit. I think if they were facing a more talented opponent, they wouldn't be making some of these mistakes, but they are rushing a few throws themselves, and that's why Cambo Cakes has been able to get a couple points on the board.
My experiences now in being an assistant coach on Pony, we're talking about a game where we ran away with it, and Jack Marsh talked about how who's played for a long time, played on Wisconsin, won a championship in 2007, about that's how champions win, is in these games when it's 12-4, and you can put the game away. The champions put the game away. They don't let the other team stick around. In Viksjofors, that might be the next step for them. They're losing a little bit of mental focus. They're playing a zone. They have no problem here riding out this game and trading. But they could get out of it just a little bit sooner. instead of making it 6 points, 3 points, you save some legs. You never know in the sense of injuries and what can happen. The sooner the better is when you get if you get the game over with, the sooner is always better.
We already saw one injury so far. Per Larsen had to go out holding his head. Cambo Cakes continues to swing around the zone, open it up with overhead throws. Omani, that's a tough hammer as two defenders were there. That just floated a bit too much. Another foul was called. Vix players not in agreement with that one.
A very touchy foul call if there was contact. The defender's claiming he jumped straight up, which is not a fact. He definitely was going backwards, but it's always funny to hear arguments of fouls. And in this situation, if he's going to stick with a call, it's going to be contested. It needs to go back.
Looks like the disc will go back. Sean O'Mani stepping in to try to resolve it. We will see Greg Connolly, game advisor, come in, and he doesn't need to intervene as the foul was contested, so the disc is going back this time.
So let's take a look here in the wide shot. We have the Cambo Cakes zone offense. 2 players back, and nobody in a 5 to 10 yard radius besides the other handler. There's no popping going on.
Yep.
What, are they going to sit back and throw hammers right into the teeth of the defense and get another turnover?
Not a good strategy with the height of the Vix players.
Kids watching here, you need a popper right now that's coming in for Cambo Cakes. You should have 2 people at least occupying this middle of the field. Instead, they're trying to spread it around, but they haven't been successful with this plan whatsoever.
And a dropped catch from the Cakes. Hugbeck. Backhand to the other side of the field. It's going to be too far. So another mental mistake from Viksjofors. If you're watching this game from the Netherlands or Sweden, make sure to hit us up on Twitter. You can find me at Skyd_Liam Rosen. That's LIAMROSEN. I've been sitting here watching your tweets so far. See there's our Twitter accounts. Don't even need to say them. Brian Jones at NoLooksGoober. Send us all your tweets. We will read all of them. I promise you that.
Also, shout out to the official photographer of the World Ultimate Club Championships, Ulti-Photos. Check out all the great photos on ultiphotos.com.
A drop from Vix. Sloppy point. And they finally put it into the end zone for 12-4.
One of the promos earlier, Liam, actually was about a documentary with a team out of Mexico. A very intriguing story that you had there. Had an opportunity to go down there and play with that team. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, Elliot Trotter and I had a connection down in Mexico, and we went down to a city called Querétaro, which is about 2.5 hours north of Mexico City. There's a team there called Malaki, which a team that, not to be cliche, but changed the course of our lives forever. They were incredibly hospitable. We learned so much about this youthful, motivated team that just wants to get better and wants to get to where the great American level is or the great international level is. So we went down there. We had the opportunity to coach them and play with them, making it to the national championships. You can find that documentary on Skyd's YouTube channel. Just search for El Nivel, El Grande, which means the level, the great.
I think what's amazing about this, Liam, is that it almost never happened. You had a bus to catch and randomly showed up at practice one day, almost missing the bus by 5 minutes.
Yeah, if I had never met those players, this never would have happened. Overthrown Huck from the Cakes, not able to track it down. So Viksjofors with another chance. 13-4, these games are shortened today, just in case there is lightning delays so the organizers can try to fit more games in. So Vik's D-line, beautiful hawk from Viksjofors. And a dropped pass. This is very uncharacteristic. We've seen 2 or 3 drops from Vik so far. They really need to clean these up going into the power pools. And I think talking to these players, they'd admit this is not their best game. Louis Ates looking for his brother Chiert.
At least this last part.
It's Deed on the boxed out handoff. Alexander Mars, who got that D, has been... It looks like there's going to be a foul called. Not sure about that one.
A little chippy here in the end of the game, and it doesn't really matter at this point. Cambo Cake's just playing for pride.
Yep.
But Viksjofors played a great game up until this last quarter, where they just aren't content to trade. They know they have the game in the bag. 13-4.
Pick called in the stack. This goes back to Koop Reinders. Reinders sending it deep. Atis is there. Mars, the great defender, is able to make a great play on this one, though. Mars has been impressive on defense so far. Foul called. I think there was contact. It was minimal, but there certainly was contact on the play. This disc is sent back again.
Just 2 different styles you're seeing, and this is what happens in international play, is that some teams are used to the physicality and some teams aren't. Viksjofors, no problem with it. They're able to go up. They're bumping downfield, and that's something that's readily accepted in certain parts of the game. But for Cambo Cakes, it's a non-contact sport for them. And as a result, anything is going to be called a foul. And that's just what you get. And this is what happens with the rules, where it's up to interpretation of how it should go and up to how people want to play it. And they'll say the people who are less inexperienced or that will say, hey, it's a non-contact sport. Any contact's a foul. And other people will say at the highest level of sports will just say it's not fun if you're going to call every single one, and it's just high speed.
Atis swinging to Steenhuisen. To overall. Throws right into the hands of the Viksjofors defender. Benson, on the other hand, will send it deep right away. And the easy score for Viks. So just 1 point away now from throwing this game. In the basket, 14-4 over Cambo Cakes.
We have more games today in our upcoming coverage.
We're going to look at the women's division. This is a matchup I'm very excited about. Copenhagen Hucks against Cosmic Girls. Last time I checked, Hucks were playing Riot very close. It looks like they have pulled away a bit, meaning Riot. Riot was up 12-7 on Hucks last time I checked. But only up 9-7 at one point. And Seattle Riot, one of the favorites to win the tournament. They've been doing very well in the U.S. club season so far. Had some big pickups this year. Charlie Eide, Kelly Johnson, Bailey Zanizer returning to play for them. I'm sure we'll be able to see them in the semifinals or a Power Pools matchup. Looks like the disc rolled out of bounds, so they'll take it from the front cone. Immediately into the center to Omani. Cakes need to stay alive here. Spoelstra to Nagaoka. Omani, far sideline, wants the huck. Spoelstra, low throw. Cakes convert. Staying alive, Ilka von Föken. And now Viksjofors' offensive line will go on. We've seen these players over and over. This is a very potent offensive line with lots of chemistry. Several of these players played at the European Championships of Beach Ultimate together on the Swedish mixed team, which no one knew much about going into that tournament, but they just ran away with it, beating Ireland in the final. I think Ireland only scored 4 points. They were very, very effective. A lot of players on this team have been former European champions who wanted a chance to go down to Barcelona on the beach, as we see this score from Cambo Cakes Elke van Veuken. Game points in Lecco, Italy. Sun has come out. Wind has picked up a bit. Still very light, though, maybe 5 kilometers per hour. Pull will land just out of bounds. You can check out all of our coverage today on SkyedMagazine.com. Main link at the top of the page, the World Ultimate Club Championship streaming schedule. We're doing 1 free streamed game a day. Our next game in the women's division, Copenhagen Hucks versus Cosmic Girls from Russia, will be streamed for free. Cosmic Girls, a very fun team to watch. The Pustavaya sisters, always exhilarating. Those forehand, backhand hucks. Dahlberg to Sundqvist. Filipowski to Josefsson. Back to Dahlberg. Sundqvist. Sundqvist was one of the members of the Swedish national team in 2011 that won the championship. And Dahlberg flips it in for the game. Viksjofors takes this one 15-5.
They do it off the backs of their defensive play, which just smothered Cambo Cakes the entire time. Cambo Cakes, though, gave the disc away too much, and it's a team that has more talent and can do better with what they have. Sometimes you see teams just utterly get dominated because they don't have the capability. And Cambo Cakes needs to get better with some of their fundamentals, with their throwing, but they still have a future ahead of them if they want it. It's one of those things where it's a transition to becoming a better team. You have to realize to be patient and not just throw hucks, and not throw hucks to contested to the matchups. Viksjofors has the defenders, has the athleticism, so you have to beat them by being smart, dumping and swinging. And I think you're gonna take this opportunity and learn a lot. They have a lot of talent available to do that.
So we wrap it up here on Skied Magazine. We're going to go into our post-game interview with David Price and captain of Viksjofors, Martin Filipowski. Stay tuned for coverage of the women's division at 1 o'clock Central European time. We're going to take a look at the Copenhagen Hucks versus the Cosmic Girls. And then at 5 p.m. matchup we're all looking forward to, Germany's Bad Skid versus Colombia's Comunidad El Oso.
I'm here with Martin from Viksjofors. Martin, you've just beaten Cambo Cakes in your last pool game, right?
Yes.
How was the game for you?
It was a good game. We got an early head on and then we just kept them rolling.
Yeah.
So it was a good game for us.
Cool. And yesterday, you had a very tight game against Furious George. Can you give us a feeling of how the game went and how it felt for you guys? I mean, it was gutting to lose, but it must have been very tight.
It was very tight, and we had a chance to get the break up to 14-13, but we didn't score that point, and then we lost the game, and that's why we were so fired up in this game, because we wanted revenge.
So where does that put you now? Do you know where you're going to be going in the power pools?
We're going to go in the power pools, yes.
And so going into those power pools, how do you feel you're going to do, and what your sort of aims for the rest of the tournament?
We aim to win all the games, but it's going to be tough. I don't know exactly which team we have, but it's going to be tough.
Nice. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
and good luck in your other games.
Thank you.
Check out Sky magazine for our ongoing coverage. Stream games go on for the rest of the day.